A number of big name politicians decided to endorse Joe Biden over the weekend, just ahead of the primary elections on March 10th. One of those individuals is actually Cory Booker, who had some pretty harsh words for Biden on the campaign trail. As you know, he was one of the Democratic candidates before he dropped out. Booker's endorsement comes one day after Senator Kamala Harris of California endorsed Biden, and the two senators will appear with him at a rally in Detroit on Monday night. Booker will also campaign alongside Biden in Flint, Michigan earlier in the day and attend a fundraiser with him. Now, he put out a statement via Twitter writing the following: "The answer to hatred and division is to reignite our spirit of common purpose. Joe Biden won't only win, he'll show there's more that unites us than divides us. He'll restore honor to the Oval Office and tackle our most pressing challenges. That's why I'm proud to endorse him." Or endorse Joe. Now, it's interesting that he has such glowing praise for Biden because I just want to remind you all what he had to say about Joe Biden on the campaign trail. Take a look.
All of the problems that he is talking about that he created, I actually led the bill that got passed into law that reverses the damage that your bills that you were, frankly, to correct you, Mr. Vice President, you were bragging, calling it the Biden crime bill up till 2015.
Thank you, Senator.
You were trying to shift the view from what you created. There are people right now in prison for life for drug offenses because you stood up and used that tough on crime, phony rhetoric that got a lot of people elected, but destroyed communities like mine.
They do not have to buy in. They do not have to buy in.
You just said that. You just said that 2 minutes ago. You just said 2 minutes ago that they would have to buy in. You said they would have to buy in.
Have to buy in. If she qualifies for Medicaid,
are you forgetting what you said 2 minutes ago?
I think that we are at a tough point right now because there's a lot of people who are concerned about Joe Biden's ability to carry the ball all the way across the end line without fumbling. And I think that Castro has some really legitimate concerns about can he be someone in a long, grueling campaign that can get the ball over the line.
So before I was worried about his mental state and his awful record on race and
criminal justice
and 94 crime bill that imprisoned millions of people for his political benefit. But now I think I might be able to get a cabinet position.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is. Axios reporting today that Cory Booker was among the names floated for VP pick.
Yeah, and by the way, I might get nothing, but hey, I got floated. I got floated for VP. You're not gonna get VP. But to be fair to Cory Booker, he's done good things like criminal justice reform. He was absolutely right in that debate. He undid some of the things, terrible things that Joe Biden had done in that crime bill. But overall, Cory Booker's in the moderate camp. In the beginning of the primaries, he was pretending to be a progressive. A lot of them were because they thought it was a good lane. I love when politicians do slimy things like talk about their lanes. I picked a lane. How about picking policies? How about believing in policies? How about believing in anything? Oh, I picked a lane. Oh, I switched my lane. I switched my lane. I think that this is gonna help my career more. How about the voters? The voters, that's good, the voters. Joe Scarborough, go tell everybody how savvy a politician I am. I might or might not get a position of power from Joe Biden. I'm so savvy.
Well, look, I don't know if Cory Booker is a moderate. Let's be fair to Cory Booker. I don't know that he's a moderate. I don't know that he's a progressive. I don't know what Cory Booker really stands for. I do know that Cory Booker looks out for Cory Booker, and he's not unique in that way. I mean, there are all sorts of conversations and deals that are made behind the scenes that we're unaware of, right? You can only speculate, but how do you go from saying, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and question on cable television, on national television, the cognitive well-being of Joe Biden, and then months later decide, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and endorse him and push for him and campaign with him. I'm gonna do speeches with him, rallies with him. It's because you know that if you work hard enough for him and he gets elected, good things might happen to your career. And so it's the grift that keeps on grifting. Like, it's nonstop in politics. And our political system, I think, attracts that type of person.
100%. So let's talk about why they're coming out now. We're going to get to Kamala Harris second. So they need to win Michigan, and Michigan is a huge battleground state between progressives and establishment Democrats. Bernie pulled off a huge upset there back in 2016. Michigan also has Detroit, has a lot of African American voters. So now Booker and Harris are running down there and going, yeah, Joe Biden's so great with African Americans. Let's remember things that they have pointed out that are absolutely true, that Biden was not picked by Barack Obama because he was great with African Americans. He didn't need help on that at all. He was picked because to satiate white people. He's like, oh, I need someone that white people are comfortable with. Right. And that's why he picked Biden in the first place. But anyway, but then why didn't Booker and Harris jump in South Carolina in Super Tuesday? Because there again, there was a ton of African American voters in the South. And so it would have been helpful to get it. Oh, they had to see if Biden was going to win. Because if Biden's not going to win, you don't want to back the wrong horse. Because what is this about, policy? Principles? No. Me. If somebody else was going to win, then I was going to back them so I could get a cabinet position. But now, I mean, he needs me less than he did on Super Tuesday, but he still needs me in Detroit. Now I could still jump in and be Johnny Come Lately and maybe get myself something. Oh, right. Bravo. How politically savvy.
Because in order to be successful in politics, you apparently need to be malleable in every way when it comes to who you support, what you support, which policies you propose. In fact, let's go to Kamala Harris's endorsement of Biden. She put out this video via Twitter.
I'm just here thinking about all of the folks who for generations have fought and died for our civil rights and fought to help our nation achieve its ideals. And you guys know we still have yet to achieve those ideals, but one of the greatest things about us is we are willing to fight to get there. So I just wanted you guys to know, because you've been supporting me for so long, and I just wanted you guys to know I have decided that I am, with great enthusiasm, going to endorse Joe Biden for President of the United States. I believe in Joe.
So she filmed that video while in Alabama, and in the very beginning she was talking about the importance of racial justice, which I find fascinating because if you can recall, one of the highlights of the Democratic debates was this moment between Joe Biden, who was against integrated busing, and Kamala Harris. Take a look.
I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. And there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
I never get tired of Joe Biden getting surprised by that.
I know, right?
Like Joe, everybody knew she was going towards it was me, right? The only person who didn't know was Joe. So anyway, but look, there it is. There it is. Oh, it's like out of a movie. It's like out of a movie. Joe, you're in the middle of a debate, please. Anyway, but back then Kamala Harris was right. And that is Joe Biden's true civil rights record. That's why he was literally hanging his head in shame for most of the time that she was talking. Right. Now, Kamala Harris tells us he's wonderful on civil rights. And then they wonder why we can't stand politicians. And then everybody on TV, all the New York Times guys, everybody yells at me, us, saying, you're hurting the party. You have to say glowing lies about Democratic officials. Kamala Harris is so principled. The way she was against Joe Biden's civil rights record and the way a couple of months later, she's totally for Joe Biden's civil rights record. Yay?
Yeah.
Okay, now last thing on endorsements for now. These do matter, by the way. So like rando endorsements are overhyped, but when the entire party comes on one side, and Nate Silver has written a lot about this, and this he's right about, historically at least, it has made a giant difference. Why? As I learned in my campaign, all politics is branding. So all these folks are adding their brand on top of Joe Biden's brand and thereby burnishing his brand. So when people go to vote, they go, oh, they see Cory Booker, they see Kamala Harris, they see all these folks within Joe Biden's brand, and they go, okay, now I'm gonna vote for him because I like Kamala Harris, etc. Now, Joe Biden, I think, has now 26 or 28% of the number of people who could endorse that are governors or sitting congressmen from the party, which is an okay number for this stage in the elections. Do you know how many Bernie Sanders has? 2%. Now they say that's because he's not a good team player. Well, there's a lot of truth in that because he doesn't sell out. So the team wants him to come on, just take the ExxonMobil money. Be a good team player. Bernie's not a good team. I'm not endorsing him. He didn't take any Goldman Sachs money like I did. He's embarrassing me, right? So that's the game at hand. Now, since those endorsements matter, and there's very few endorsements that Bernie Sanders could get who are in the progressive camp. It's Monday, guys. Giant elections are Tuesday, tomorrow.
Where's Warren? Where's Warren? And look, there are groups who endorsed Warren who aren't waiting for Warren to endorse Bernie. They've come out and they said that they support Bernie. You should vote for him. You get the picture. But it's just frustrating because one of Bernie's weaknesses, and I don't see it as a weakness, I see it as one of his strengths, but it's a weakness in this current system. Politics is transactional. Everything in politics is transactional. And so everyone's looking to get their bread buttered, right? And so I can't imagine Bernie having these discussions about like, hey, favor for a favor, you know? Maybe VP pick, maybe press secretary, maybe treasury secretary. Like every time he gets asked about appointments, he always says it's too soon to talk about that, right? And I love that because he's absolutely right. But it ends up hurting him because everyone's looking out for themselves and he's not promising anyone anything. The only people he's promising anything to are working people in America.
Yeah, all these folks that are profiles encourage. Look, I'm obviously frustrated and I should be frustrated. You should be frustrated. I not just Warren. Look, I'm gonna pick a random person, you're gonna say, why bother talking about him? Well, because he matters and he could make a big difference. So, and it's another person that I personally like and believe in. Al Gore, okay? So if you want action on climate change, what's Joe Biden gonna do? Oh, we'll get us back into Paris Climate Accord and then do nothing else, nothing else. We're not gonna fix it, you know it. So
that's such a good point.
So
that's such a good point. I mean,
but it might hurt people's reputation. It might hurt Warren's reputation. It might hurt Gore's reputation. And I'm picking on them because they're the two biggest. And I have a personal affinity towards them. Okay, and I'm telling you that anyway. But everybody else, I mean, sitting on the sideline right now. Elections tomorrow. There is no sitting on the sideline. Sitting on the sideline means off you go. Good luck. I mean, it's like Jon Snow when all those guys all the horses are marching towards him and he pulls out his sword, except nobody comes to back him up. Yeah. You know, it's just us. And so I don't want anyone in all of those camps coming around later asking for any kind of credit. Okay, this is the time for action. If you're not here now, I know there was time for Saturday Night Live. So, okay. So look, I'm the bad guy, right? But I'm not the bad guy. I'm not the bad guy.
No, you're the right guy now.
Okay.
Now you are.
So look, you can catch feelings all day long. I'm not talking about Warren, I'm talking about her whole camp, okay? Oh my God, but my feelings were bruised on Saturday or 3 weeks ago, etc. I don't care about your feelings. The time for action is right now. So if you don't take that action, don't come around later, but I was going to, but I was a progressive, but you don't understand, my feelings were hurt because of someone on Twitter. And so I let the progressive movement go into battle without me. Okay, everybody makes their own choices. Then it's absolutely true that you gotta live with those choices. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.